Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at Luna, see what's going on, of course, help you understand best practice, big picture. And this is a request from one of my community members. Thank you so much for the ask. I do appreciate it. I believe it was Wes that asked me, so appreciate that. And of course, we'll see what we can do to help understand, what's going to happen next, because Luna is giving us good signs that it wants to break free, and it is technically trying. All right, we'll cover that, of course, here and more. So if you're new to the channel, though, make sure you check out my website, CryptoCache.app, if you want to become a community member, as well as basically a student, if you will, because I provide you with a trading academy and also a signal group as well, in case you're curious of how I structure my trades effectively. I share everything with you. You can one-click follow if you'd like. But again, the whole purpose is to ensure that you understand how to become a better trader, and that's why I make these videos too. So learn what you can and grow, of course, as a trader, and that's the important thing that I've done my job, right? So taking a look here at Luna, big picture, we're looking pretty good here. And what I mean by that is this trend line is continuing to progress upwards. In fact, we have more of an aggressive trend line here in the last few days that looks like it really wants to break out and start establishing new all-time highs. Obviously, we established an all-time high here at 107.91, really close estimate 108, which is fantastic. That's higher than any previous, but we got to wait for this one-day candlestick to close and make sure we are truly breaking above. All right, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that and much more. And what we want to take a look at first of all is moving averages. Those are kind of null and void, but they're kind of running concurrent, as you can see with the trend line here. So oftentimes that's a great sign when you're moving synonymous with the 50-day simple moving average and a type of trend line. Okay, so again, really good sense in that way. I can tell you though that it's not going to matter for a little while, in fact. So, it's good to kind of help you understand the big picture that it's moving alongside of you, but we won't really see it tested in it for a little while. Okay, so again, it doesn't have to be tested to be proven that it's a nice angle or direction, if that makes sense. Looking at the 4-hour correction, the 1-day RSI, we can see the RSI is above 50, but under 70 still. That's perfect. Oftentimes 70 can work as a resistance level, so keep that in mind. If the price were to break above, then that could work as a potential support. So a lot of times what I try to look for in continuous trends like this, especially when we're making all-time highs, is where is the RSI at on the 1-day? If we're under 70, we still have yet to hit that potential resistance, and at that point, we'll know if it's going to continue higher or if it may retrace to the next major support level and or Fibonacci retracement line, okay? So we'll look at that, but generally speaking, we're looking great there in that sense. We are looking at a pretty strong MACD convergence on the 1-day. I typically don't care for that, or not to say I don't care for it, it's valid. It's just less relevant as just say a good signal would be from a 4-hour MACD convergence. So generally speaking, that's just telling us here that the bulls are in control and the likelihood of a pullback is pretty low in the general sense of where this is looking right now, okay? We also want to take a quick look at the volume, and we do have a tremendous more amount of volume last 2 trading days than in the entire 2 weeks prior, right? So that being said, that amount of volume, even though it's not super significant at which we've seen before, it's still very strong and very commanding, and that increase in volume will allow for the price action to stay above that key level resistance, which we can see is pretty close to, or tentatively right around the range of about $99. We could just say 100 as a round estimate. Upwards of 105. So 100 to 105 would be nice round numbers to kind of remember as a potential resistance channel. And when I say potential, truth be told, yes, we have a candle wick up right now, and our price, our price bar essentially is over 100 and 105 presently, but the candlestick hasn't closed yet. And I prefer to use a 24-hour time frame to identify specifically if this is legitimate or not. Okay, because again, a lot can happen in that time frame. That's why larger time frames give you more consistent results. And if the 1-day looks good, then most everything else should follow. That being said, let's go ahead and look and see if there's any kind of midterm type of movements. And we can see this here. This is fairly healthy. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, but it's not like a terrible parabolic type of increase. It's not all happening at once, if you will. It's spread out nicely, and there's these strong momentous pushes here that keep pushing the price higher. So it does look like it wants to continue. And we can also kind of see this trend as well progressing upwards, and that could very well come into play. All right. So again, just something to kind of note. We can kind of pull that out a little bit. Once again, trend lines are not 100%. You got to understand that, but they do help us understand the overall direction. Until they're broken, they'll continue to maintain. Right. In this case here, we've seen a test roughly every few hours, coming back down and continues up. So the trend here is momentous, and we need to acknowledge the fact that it's likely to continue higher until it doesn't. Okay. That being said, RSI is up over 70, coming back down, tapering off, which is good. We need it to kind of consolidate and go sideways. It'd be perfect if we got another 8 hours of consolidation and then a leg up from there. Again, consolidating here at about 105, this key level Fibonacci retracement line, a previous resistance, basically the all-time high previous, is going to be a point in which we need to see more volume accumulation. Now, obviously, we're going to see a lot of volume down here, but generally speaking, we don't have a tremendous amount of volume up here just yet, but it's starting to build. So we got this little foundation here about 103, a little bit of volume, and generally speaking, it's starting to look better. So again, more volume accumulation at 105 would be better, but generally speaking, it's starting to look okay. And we're above both moving averages too, which is extremely important. Previous MACD convergence, that's continuing, so albeit slightly overextended, and we hit a 9 on TD sequential recently, still looking fairly healthy, all right? So just bear in mind, though, with us being at a 9 on TD sequential, there's no guarantees on this, too, of course, because momentous trends have a tendency of just defying the laws of trading. But generally speaking, when you have 9 candlesticks in a row in a specific direction, the likelihood of it coming back and turning around is higher, right? Or just at least going sideways. So what we should have seen realistically is the price go sideways here, but instead it legged up and maintained itself. That's good because we have additional volume at this point to support that. So that extra support is really giving us that confirmation that this move, this trend upwards is confirmed, and it's legitimate, I guess you could say. So again, even though we hit a 9 recently, that should be a point in which we should have turned around. We can literally see a lot of on average, it's usually somewhere in the range of 2 to 4 extra candlesticks after the 9 before a turnaround. So that being said, we're basically three candlesticks in. We could see another consolidation here and then a leg up, or we could see the price come back down to retrace to $100. There's no guarantees again, but this trend is currently holding, and until it breaks, once again, we got to kind of honor that. So in that sense, it does feel like it still wants to trend upwards, and regardless of us being a bit on the overextended side, there's still a lot of volume to push that through, so to speak. So a turnaround would be less likely based on that sentiment of having that extra volume. Okay. That's why volume is really important to understand. If you can look at level 2 data as well, it's extremely beneficial to understand that, hey man, there's specific price points that people are wanting to get in at. And generally speaking right now, Luna is proving to want to stay above 100. I think worst case scenario, we'll see $100 retested. Better case scenario, consolidation at 105. So to me, I would recommend, dollar cost average targets would be 105, then maybe just say 101 to be safe, so you get filled, or 100. Somewhere in that range, this little resistance channel that is proving to build volume at a lot larger of a rate than before, and it's really important because it's giving us that foundation. Okay. So again, really, really good stuff there. I like to see that. We also can understand too as well that the Ichimoku Cloud is telling us not to sell our position, keep it open, because the likelihood of a leg up is also greater. Keep in mind too, with this being a previous resistance at 105, oftentimes when the price breaks through a previous resistance, it'll come back down to retest it. And what is happening right now? A retest of that level. Okay. So there's no guarantees the price will bounce off of 105, but if it stays sideways for a few more hours and consolidates there, then we can probably expect the price to continue higher from there and enter price discovery. We're already price discovering for the moment, but generally speaking, we'll get a lot more of it here soon. So I speculate the price will be more likely to increase from here than decrease from here, pending we don't lose this trend line, and of course some specifics we've already covered on the larger time frames, right? That being said, let's look at one last thing here on the 1 hour TD sequential. We're hitting, we hit an 8, previously a 9, consolidation, down to a 4, up to a 6, 4, 5. Yeah, so generally speaking, this is a lot healthier than it looks in larger time frames, because again, this nice staircase pattern. We hit an overextension at a 9, consolidated down a little bit and came back up, hit an 8, nice consolidation, bounce out the trend line, and almost essentially repeating this action. So again, I think the likelihood of it continuing higher from here is there. Okay, so regardless of the fact that it appears overextended, and it definitely is, for lack of better terms, it's got a lot of volume to support that overextension. And that's what we're seeing with Bitcoin too, for the most part as well. That's the reason why it's able to maintain its price, because every time there's a sell-off that occurs, immediate buyback in at a lower price point. We're seeing that here with Luna. So yeah, I would say I'm bullish on Luna. That's definitely going to be a good potential. And if you're not familiar already, actually you probably wouldn't be if you're not familiar with the channel, but we do have a profit target at 131 based on our previous Fibonacci retracement levels and a swing trade that we have open. So I do think that we're going to be able to hit 131 in the next couple of months. Probably even sooner, depending on what happens with Bitcoin. If we don't see a massive correction from Bitcoin here soon, which I don't think is realistic, 46,000 maybe, then Luna should continue to progress upwards, establish itself. What we're looking for today, though, is a close above 105 on the daily. I think that'd be extremely important. If we can close just, say, 106, 107 range, I think we're going to be looking pretty good. But yeah, all in all, I think that's pretty much everything. I hope you learned something here today. And of course, we'll find benefit. Thank you so much to my community members for requesting that I cover this. And I do look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Once again, CryptoCache.tech is a site. Feel free to register and get to know the group and community better. I look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day.